Wootware is one of the best PC shops that South Africa has to offer. And, in the time when PC building is really expensive, they are one of those sites that you can go on and, not everything's going to be cheap, but you can know that you're going to be able to find one or two deals. So today I wanted to do a little live well, it's not live, I'm pre-recording, but I'm building it as I speak, a little Wootware build guide. And I haven't pre-chosen anything like I usually do. This is going to be discussing things and choosing them as we go. I'm going to aim for about 20,000 Rand, which is about $1,300, $1,200 around there. And we'll just see what's available in, middle 2026 and what we can get. So starting off here with the chassis. Montech are one of those companies that offer a ton of value. If you look at their stuff, it's just, I know they just released their new mini ATX case. It's a smaller ATX case, the Montech 10, and I really like their stuff. I've only built in one of their chassis before. It was the Air Max, this one, but without the RGB, and it was a very good quality case. I've looked at this Montech Air Lite before because I like smaller cases. And I think it's a very attractive case because of just how simple it is, right? I like a very simple but still aesthetically pleasing case. And they have a lot of Montech options. Lee, more premium brand, but it's not really too expensive in terms of what you get. But for a 20,000 Rand PC, you don't want to spend more than, 1% of the budget. I mean, like 8, 9, 10% of the budget on a case. And I think for that reason, I'm going to maybe be looking at something like a Montech. Antec have a few good options, not as many as they used to have at the moment. But yeah, I think I'm going to go for a Montech. I like the look of this first one, and it's a really good price. And this is a just a normal ATX case. I want to check out, what its specs are. It only has one review, 3 stars. Let's see what that review says. Nice case, but the fans are not variable speed and are always at full speed. This makes the case very loud. Okay, that's interesting. Are they ARGB? They are. So him not saying they're variable speed just means it's not PWM fans, so you can't control the fan speed. Now, I don't know if that's true. Maybe he missed something, but regardless, yeah, looking at this case, I kind of don't like it. I don't like this front panel, so I'm gonna choose a different one. I do like this one. I'm gonna go with the one that I like, and that's this Montech Air Lite. It doesn't have any RGB, anything like that, but there is an RGB version. It's a couple of bucks more. This one. Yeah, let's just go with this one. It's only like 200 Rand more, so. I think this one makes sense. It's a nice looking case, and it's not a bad price at 900 Rand. I think it's a nice looking case. It's quite small. Comes with a little what do you call those, RGB controllers. That one will just plug into your motherboard, and I like the look of it. So I'm gonna go with this case. It's a pretty good deal. CPU wise, now this is where it gets tricky, right? Because if your budget is only 20,000 Rand, which I'm not saying that's not a lot of money, because it is, but it's not so much money that you can choose any CPU that you want and then still have a good graphics card. So we have to be careful about what we pick. It would be nice to get a 9800X 3D, but then that's half of our budget. So you could look at AM4, of course, an older platform, but in terms of price to performance, still quite good. But then you do end your upgrade line right there. So a couple of years ago I would have done that, but I think now it's just not the most viable option anymore. This is the CPU that I run, and it's a very good CPU. But if I had to build new parts for myself now, I would choose, even if it's a 6-core CPU, I would choose something on the newer platforms, just because then you have that upgrade headroom. So I might go for the 9600X because this PC is a gaming PC, and these are really good gaming CPUs. for a mid-range gaming experience. So I'm gonna go for the 9600X because it's 4,500 rand. So it's not cheap, but the performance is there, and overall it's a very good CPU. So I'm gonna go for that. We'll go motherboard first before we do a CPU cooler. So now we have to select a motherboard for the CPU. What's nice about Wootware's PC Builder is they sort the motherboards so that you only see the ones that is compatible with your CPU. This CPU isn't the most power hungry thing in the world, so we don't have to buy the best motherboard out there, but we can still get something relatively nice. Something like, honestly, this Asus board, it's a basic board, but it's good enough. It only has the one NVMe, so it's a budget board. It is a budget board. Only has a couple of USBs. I don't even see a USB-C on it, which is a bit disappointing. I think maybe this is just slightly too budget, because it's okay, but I mean, you're not even getting USB-Cs on the back or anything like that. So yeah, I think we need to get something slightly nicer. So let's go for, we can't go much more than 2,000 rand. So we can look at this Sapphire board. We can look at, yeah, that's the thing on motherboards. There's not a lot of options in between, right? Maybe this Maxsun, not the most famous brand, but they are putting out more products in Africa. We have another Asus, just an upgraded one. Let's take a look at this Asus here. So this one is similar to the previous one, but it's just a bit nicer. It does have a USB-C. It has more I/O. It looks nicer. It's got a shield for the NVMe slot. Still only one NVMe slot, which is a bit disappointing, but there's another one, so we do get two on this board. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with this board. I think this makes sense. It does have 4 DIMM slots. Let's double check for CPU compatibility. 9,000, 8,000, and 7,000, and we have the 9600X, so this will work just fine. I think this board makes sense, and it's it's not going to break the bank too much, so we'll choose that one. Then we need to select a CPU cooler, because CPUs don't really come with coolers anymore, so we're gonna have to choose one. This CPU is not going to be the most power hungry thing in the world, because it is only 6 cores. It doesn't have the highest power draw. So I'm going to go with something like this. I think this will look nice. Yeah, let's just go with this one. The ID cooling Frozer, and it does have a little LCD for temperature gauging, which is, I always appreciate. I think it's a nice addition. And I like basic coolers like these that just look nice. Memory, now this is where it gets tough, because look at these prices. How are we going to make this work? Just 16 gigs of RAM is almost 5,000 rand. It's crazy. It's a crazy time. This is going to severely affect our graphics card, because this is like 25% of the budget. 8 gigs is just not enough. We do have to get 16 gigs. Now, luckily with DDR5, you can just buy one stick of RAM and not have it affect the performance too much in terms of dual channel versus single channel performance. That's one of the benefits of DDR5. I've only seen one that's really even affordable. It's not affordable at all, but one that's not so crazy, and that is this Gale one over here. So we're going to choose this 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM running at 6,000 megahertz. And then what you can do is later on, when RAM drops, or if you have more money, you've got 4 DIMM slots, populate another one, add another one of these. But at this budget, it's not going to work. Before we do the graphics card, I want to do the power supply. So depending on the graphics card we get, we're going to need a relatively decent power supply, something like 600 to 800 watts, and it has to be at least relatively performant. So something like the Intel, the Antec Atom, it's a good price, but performance wise, it's probably not exactly there. It is 80 plus gold certified, We can take a look at it. And you know what? This one is semi-modular, so this isn't the one I was thinking about. This one actually looks really decent for the price. Yeah, I think we might just take that one. These were the ones I was looking at before, and they are just a little bit too budget. They've got mustard and ketchup cables. They're not modular, which I mean is fine, but it's nice for saving space. And they just don't look great. This one, on the other hand, is quite nice for the price. $1,250, and it's 80 plus gold, semi-modular. So yeah, 750 watts is more than enough for this sort of build. So let's choose this one. So we've got a really nice power supply going there, and we are at 14,100 rand already. So we've got 6,000 rand left. I don't know how we're gonna make this work. I don't even think we're gonna be able to make this work. The RAM just set us back too much. Because SSDs are going to be the same thing, right? So yeah, we might just have to up this budget. I might just have proven that a budget AM5 build isn't even possible at 20,000 rand. Okay, I'll take a look here. You see, it's just such a pity with the memory and the RAM and everything. A 500 gigabyte NVMe for 2,000 rand. It's crazy. So we're gonna have to take something like just the cheapest one we can find, I guess, or just go with like a normal SSD. But you know, you do want to match the generation of the motherboard's NVMe to the NVMe drive that you choose, but it's just so difficult at the moment. I don't know how anyone's building PCs right now. You know, if you go second hand, that's something else, but yeah, it's just tough. Okay, well, I guess we'll go with this third gen Hexemi drive. I don't think anything else is going to be affordable, so that puts us at 16,000 rand. So we've only got 4,000 rand for a graphics card, so that's not going to work. We're going to have to up the budget, so we'll see what's available. And the thing is, like, you want to match the graphics card to the parts that you get. So, you know, we've got good RAM, good gaming CPU for mid-range gaming. But now, you know, if you have like 5,000 rand left, in this case 4,000 rand, you couldn't get much. You could get a 3050, but what's the point of doing that? You might as well just have chosen an AM4 system then. The B580 is not a bad option, and it'll fit relatively well with these parts. But it's just, I don't know, I feel like you should be able to do better. So the 7600 is a good option, and that's not going to break the bank too much. That'll put us at 22,000, so that's relatively close to the 20,000 target that we had, and this is going to be a 2K gaming capable PC, so it's not, you know, it's not horrible, but yeah, you want to kind of go a bit better than the 7600 for 20,000 rand, right? Like, it's 1,200, and it's about like $1,300 at this point. Let's do the math quick. It's right around, yeah, $1,300 right now. So, you know, as is, it's a good system, but it's just, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to see what things cost now. If this were me building this PC, I would probably just make the jump to 25,000, because I'm not saying that these cards aren't good or that any of these parts aren't good. I'm just saying, if you're buying a new PC, you want to get the best that you can get within, like, you know, a range. But I mean, the thing is, like, if we jump to 25,000, we could get like a 9060 XT, right around, yeah, exactly 25,000. So that's probably what I would do, is like I would get something like a 9060 XT or a 5060. The 5060 16 gig is very expensive, so that one I'm not going to look at. The ARC B580 puts us around 21,000, so this is cheaper than before, and this is, I think, if you do want to stick with the 20,000 range, something like this will get you close. I don't think there are cheaper CPUs right now on the AM5 platform. I mean, there's like the 7500 X3D. That's an interesting choice. It's a bit older, but that puts you at 22,000. The 7500F puts you at. So okay, so this is the 20,000 PC. I guess we just have to downgrade that CPU then. The 20,000 Rand PC in South Africa on Wootware, which is, by the way, a cheap site in terms of like they offer a lot of value, and it's not looking good. You got the Montec Air for the chassis. You've got the Ryzen 5 7500F, and look, it's a good CPU, right? It's still a 6-core Zen 4 CPU. It's just not a 9600X, but it is what it is. I mean, you're still going to be fine with this graphics card. So, you know, in terms of tying these components together, it's still a good solution. It's just not exactly what I would have liked to do. But for 20,000 Rand, it is what it is. Then you've got the ID Cooling Frozen CPU cooler. You can take whatever you want with this because these aren't very hot running CPUs. The motherboard, I've gone for the cheapish Asus Prime, but it's still relatively premium. It offers some nice features. Memory, honestly, take the quickest, cheapest thing you can find. In this case, that's the Gale 6000 megahertz mega transfer, so that's not too bad. Graphics card, we've got the Arc B580. Now you do get 12 gigs of VRAM, which does help. And this is a 2K gaming capable graphics card at the end of the day. You could also consider going for a 7600 for slightly more money, but I would probably go for the B580. PSU, you've got a really good deal there on the Antec 750 watt, gold rated semi-modular, so that's nice. SSD, here's the thing, if you have an SSD in your system, just use that one because, you know, RAM and SSD, it's just too expensive at the moment. It just doesn't make sense to even do this in terms of storage and memory. So it is what it is. This PC will run relatively well at 2K. For 20,000 Rand, I think it's a relatively good PC. But like I said before, if you do go 25,000, you can get a lot more out of it. So maybe just save up a little bit longer. Maybe just, you know, hold out a bit more, wait a couple of months, and just you know, get to that point where it's 25,000 Rand instead of 20,000 Rand. So it makes a big difference. But still, I do recommend Wootware. I think they are a great site, very, very friendly, professional staff. I've bought a lot of stuff from them, and I've always been very happy with them. So definitely recommend them. They are very good about honoring their warranties as well. So yeah, definitely recommend it. So that's going to be about it for this one. What do you think? Are you building PC right now? Are you in South Africa? Are you in America? Where in the world are you? What are your local prices like? Is it close to this if you compare? So this is now right around $1,200. Would a PC like this cost that much where you are, or is this just insanely expensive in South Africa? So let me know in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next one.